present the budget for the year 2020-2021. So in May 2019, Prime Minister Modi received a massive mandate to form the government again. With renewed vigor, under his leadership, we commit ourselves to serve the people of India with all humility and dedication. People of India have unequivocally given their Janadesh for not just political stability and also reposed faith in our economic policy. This is the budget to boost their incomes and enhance their purchasing power. Only through higher growth we can achieve that and have our youth gainfully and meaningfully employed. Let our businesses be innovative, healthy, and solvent with use of technology. For today's youth, born at the turn of the century, for every member of the scheduled castes and scheduled tribes who seek a better life, for every woman wishing to stand up and get counted, for every individual from the minority sections of our society, this budget aims to give and have your aspirations and hopes addressed. We wish to open up vistas for a vibrant and dynamic economy with a gentle breeze of new technology. This vibrant India shall be a caring society which shall attend to its weak, the old, and the vulnerables among its citizens. During 2014-19, our government brought in a paradigm shift in governance. This shift was characterized by a twin focus: fundamental structural reform and inclusive growth. Fundamentals of the economy are strong, and that has ensured macroeconomic stability. Inflation has been well contained. Banks saw a thorough cleaning up of accumulated loans of the past decade, and then they were recapitalized. Companies were provided an exit through the IBC. Several steps on the formalization of the economy were taken up. Of the structural reforms, the Goods and Services Tax, the GST, has been the most historic in our country. Its chief architect is not with us today. I pay homage to the visionary leader, late Sri Arun Jaitley. At the time of rollout of GST, he had said, and I quote, It will be an India where the center and states will work harmoniously towards the common goal of shared prosperity. The unanimity of the constitutional amendment and the consensus of the GST Council highlights that India can rise above narrow politics for the nation's interest. With the GST, neither the state nor the center loses its sovereignty. In contrast, they will pool their sovereignty on decisions on indirect taxes, unquote. True to this vision for the historic structural reform, the Goods and Services Tax has been gradually maturing into a tax that has integrated the country economically. It has consolidated numerous taxes and cesses to one tax and facilitated formalization of the economy. It has resulted in the efficiency gains in logistic and transport sectors. The turnaround time for trucks has witnessed a substantial reduction to the tune of 20% due to abolition of checkposts in the GST. The dreaded Inspector Raj has also vanished. It has also led to a significant benefits to MSME by way of enhanced threshold and composition limit. the effective tax incidence on almost every commodity came down substantially. Through several rate reductions, an annual benefit of 1 lakh crore rupees has been extended to consumers. It amounts to 10% reduction in overall tax incidence. An average household now saves about 4% of its monthly spends on account of reduced GST rates. During this phase of maturing, GST did face certain challenges. This was natural, as transition was daunting. GST Council has been proactive in resolving issues during the transition. In the last 2 years, we have added more than 60 lakh new taxpayers. A total of about 40 crore returns were filed. 800 crore invoices were uploaded and 105 crore e-way bills were generated. There has been extensive engagement with stakeholders. A simplified new return system is being introduced from 1st April 2020. A former Prime Minister had once voiced a concern that the fruits of the welfare schemes were not reaching the intended citizens. The common and deserving citizen was only receiving 15 paise of every rupee sent to him. Guided by Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas, our government and our Prime Minister added manifold speed and scaled up the implementation of schemes and programs that directly benefited the poor and the disadvantaged. I wish to list out only a few as examples. 1. Welfare schemes with direct benefit transfer embedded in them. 2. Sanitation and water as provision of basic needs and as a measure of preventive health care. 3. Healthcare through Ayushman Bharat. Clean energy through Ujjwala and solar power. 4th. 5th. Financial inclusion, credit support, insurance protection to vulnerable sections and pension scheme. 6th, digital penetration with broadband and UPI. And finally, affordable housing for all through PMAY, the Prime Minister Awas Yojana. The milestones achieved are unprecedented, globally recognized and benchmarked against international indices. This strategy changed the established order of a few individuals, cornering most of the benefits, and was appreciated by the people. This had immensely positive outcomes. We have moved on from a growth rate of just over 4% in 1950s to 6% in 80s and in the 90s. However, during 2014 and 19, we clocked a growth of 7.4% on average, with inflation averaging around 4.5% itself. It is worthwhile to note that inflation was close to 9% in the
बताइए दो हाफ एन आवर। तो ये सीधी तस्वीरें आप देख रहे थे लोकसभा से, जहां पे वित्त मंत्री निर्मला सीतारमन अपना बजट भाषण पेश कर रही थी और जिस तरह से उन्होंने बजट भाषण दिया।
India was able to raise 271 million people out of poverty, which we all should be proud of. We are now the 5th largest economy of the world. India's foreign direct investment got elevated to the level of $284 billion during 2014 and 19 from $190 billion that came in during the years 2009 to 14. The central government debt that has been the bane of our economy got reduced in March 2019. to 48.7% of GDP from a level of 52.2% in March 2014. Just between 14 and 19, I recall this figure, the central government's debt in March 2019 has come down to 48.7% of the GDP from a level of 52.2% in March 2014. With this backdrop, our government shall work towards taking the country forward so that we can leapfrog to the next level of health, prosperity, and well-being. We shall strive to bring ease of living to every citizen. I'm mindful of presenting this budget in the backdrop of two cross-cutting developments. One, proliferation of technologies, especially analytics, machine learning, robotics, bioinformatics, and artificial intelligence. And also, number two, the number of people in the productive age group, that is 15 to 65 years of age in India, being at its highest. So these are the two cross-cutting streams, keeping in the backdrop while we are talking about the budget today. This combination is special to contemporary India. Across the world, if there is a shrinking of globalization, equally, there is a debate on the efficacy of monetary policy too. The efforts we have made in the last 5 years and the energy, the enthusiasm, and the innovation of our youth are the ignition required to push forward. This Indian spirit of entrepreneurship, which weathered several storms over the centuries, inspire and motivate us. We recognize the need to support and further energize this spirit. This budget is woven around three prominent themes. One, aspirational India, in which all sections of the society seek better standards of living with access to health, education, and better jobs. Two, economic development for all, indicated in the Prime Minister's exhortation of Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas. This would entail reforms across swathes of the economy. Simultaneously, it would mean yielding more space for the private sector. Together, they would ensure higher productivity and greater efficiency. And three, ours shall be a caring society that is both humane and compassionate. Antyodaya is an article of faith. So, I repeat, this budget is woven around three prominent themes: aspirational India, economic development, and a caring society. The digital revolution, which has placed India in a unique leadership position globally, will see the next wave. We shall aim to achieve seamless delivery of services through digital governance, to improve physical quality of life through national infrastructure pipeline, risk mitigation through disaster resilience, social security through pension and insurance penetration. Each one of these initiatives and their components would be benchmarked to international standards, and the indices would be announced soon. Before I move to elaborate on each of these three themes, I wish to recite a small verse in Kashmiri. सोन वतन गुलजार शालीमार ह्यूं, सोन वतन गुलजार शालीमार ह्यूं, दल मंज फोलवून पंपोश ह्यूं, नवजवान अन हुंद Bhushan Kumar Hugh, Myon Watan, Chyon Watan, Son Watan, Nundboni Watan. I'll read this in Hindi, not as a poem, but for the meaning. Hamara Watan, खिलते हुए शालीमार बाग जैसे. हमारा वतन खिलते हुए शालीमार बाग जैसे. हमारा वतन डल लेक में खिलते हुए कमल जैसा. नवजवानों के गरम खून जैसा. नवजवानों के गरम खून जैसा. मेरा वतन, तेरा वतन, हमारा वतन, दुनिया का सबसे प्यारा वतन. It is everything that we do here, everything that we speak through the budget, and everything that this government everything that this government does with the guidance and leadership of the Prime Minister is for this Pyara Watan. This poem, I must mention, is a poem written by Pandit Dinanath Kaul, who's a Sahitya Academy awardee. Honorable Speaker, sir, I now move to the first of my theme, which is the aspirational India. I shall cover programs and plans related to agriculture, irrigation, and rural development. That's my first under the aspirational India theme. Second, wellness, water, and sanitation. That's the second under aspirational India. And the third is education and skills. I move to talking about agriculture, irrigation, and rural development. Our government is committed to the goal of doubling farmers' incomes by 2022. We have provided energy sovereignty through Kusum and input sovereignty through Paramparagat Krishi Vikas Yojana. We have provided resilience for 6.11 crore farmers insured under Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana. Focus on cultivation of pulses, expansion of micro-irrigation through Krishi Sinchai Yojana have raised the self-reliance of the country. Provision of any annual supplement of the income to the farmer directly is done through PM Kisan. Connectivity through PM GSY, Gram Sadak Yojana, financial inclusion have helped raise farm incomes. Prosperity to farmers can be ensured by making farming competitive. For this, farm markets need to be liberalized. Distortions in farm and livestock markets need to be removed. Purchase of farm produce, logistics, agri-services need copious investments. Substantial support and hand-holding of farm-based activities such as livestock, apiary, and fisheries need to be provided for. Farmers desire integrated solutions covering storage, financing, and processing and marketing. Adopting sustainable cropping patterns and bringing in more technology are integral to our plan. All this and more can be achieved through working with and in cooperation with the states. The following 16 action points indicate our focus. We propose to encourage those state governments who undertake implementation of following model laws already issued by the central government. My first of the action points, 16 action points, but the first one is to encourage those state governments who undertake implementation of following model laws which are already passed and issued by the central government. First, Model Agricultural Land Leasing Act of 2016. Model Agricultural Produce and Livestock Marketing Act of 2017, Model Agricultural Produce and Livestock Contract Farming and Services Promotion and Facilitation Act of 2018. So 3 model agriculture-related laws we would like state governments to consider favorably. Second of the 16 action points, water stress-related issues are now a serious concern across the country. Our government is proposing comprehensive measures for 100 water-stressed districts. Our government is proposing comprehensive measures for 100 water-stressed districts. Third of the 16, in the budget speech of July 2019, I had stated that Annadata can be Urja Data also. The PM Kusum scheme removed farmers' dependence on diesel and kerosene and linked pump sets to solar energy. Now I propose to expand the scheme to provide 20 lakh farmers for setting up standalone solar pumps. Further, we shall also help another 15 lakh farmers solarize their grid-connected pump sets. In addition, a scheme to enable farmers to set up solar power generation capacity on their fallow and barren lands and to sell it to grid would be operationalized. Speaker, sir, this is a major step forward in which we are saying that farmers, if they have fallow or barren lands, now will be helped to set up solar power generation units so that they can then sell that which is being generated, solar power, to the grid, and through the grid, having given the solar power from their barren land, they will be able to make a living out of their barren land also. Fourth of the 16, our government shall encourage balanced use of all kinds of fertilizers, including the traditional organic and other innovative fertilizers. This is a necessary step to change the prevailing incentive regime which encourages excessive use of chemical fertilizers. So this is an important point. I'd like to repeat it. This is a necessary step to change the prevailing incentive regime which encourages excessive use of chemical fertilizers. Honorable Speaker, sir, in Tamil Nadu, there was a very wise old woman saint poet who lived more than 3,000 years ago. And she had used every letter of the Tamil alphabet to teach children moral stories. Not stories, moral lines. Each line was only 3-worded ones. They were very simple ones. They're called Ati Chudi, written by Avayar. Whilst talking about effective use of land, taking care of your land, removing weeds, and making sure you tend to it properly, she had just used 3 words in a little sentence, which says it all. And that's exactly what our Prime Minister is aiming to achieve, so that the farmlands are used with proper manure, not excessive manure, and limited water to grow their grains. Bhumi Thirutti Un is the line from Atti Chudi, which was said by a saint poet, a woman called Avayar. Bhumi Thirutti Un. First, tend to your land, take care that you're not excessively leaving it, and then trying to take a crop out of it. So the 5th point out of my 16 action points. India has an estimated capacity of 162 million metric tons of agri-warehousing, cold storage, reefer van facilities, and so on. NABARD will undertake an exercise to map and geotag them. In addition, we propose creating warehousing in line with Warehouse Development and Regulatory Authority, WDRA norms. Our government will provide viability gap funding for setting up such efficient warehouses in the block or taluk level. This can be achieved where states can facilitate with land and are on PPP mode. Food Corporation of India and Central Warehousing Corporation shall undertake such warehouse building on their own land too. Sixth action point. As a backward linkage, a village storage scheme is proposed to be run by SHGs. This will provide farmers a good holding capacity and reduce their logistics cost. Women SHGs can avail of Mudra or NABARD assistance and regain their position as Dhanya Lakshmi. We've heard of Dhana Lakshmi often, and many of us are familiar with Dhanya Lakshmi, and I'm sure many of us do recall the days when women in the villages were the ones who kept the seed for the entire village, and they would distribute seeds as and when a farmer required it. So we would like to restore women SHG groups to play that role or at the village level as Dhanya Lakshmis, being assisted by Mudra and being assisted by NABARD. To build a seamless national cold supply chain for perishables inclusive of milk, meat and fish, the Indian Railways will set up a Kisan Rail through PPP arrangements. There shall be a refrigerated coaches in express and freight trains as well, so that perishable goods can be quickly, easily within the country transported, and the benefit will accrue to the farmers. Krishi Udan will be launched by the Ministry of Civil Aviation, not just trains. Krishi Udan will be launched by the Ministry of Civil Aviation on international and national routes. This will immensely help improve value realization, especially in Northeast and in the tribal districts. Horticulture sector. So this is very important. Point number 9 of the 16th. Horticulture sector with its current produce. It's a very important point, sir. Horticulture sector with its current produce of 311 million metric ton exceeds the production of food grains. Horticulture exceeds the production of food grains. For better marketing and export, we propose supporting states which, adopting a cluster basis, will focus on one product, one district, so that a high focus is given at the district level for products in horticulture to really gain that momentum. 10th of the 16 action points. Integrated farming systems in rain-fed areas shall be expanded. Multi-tier cropping, beekeeping, solar pumps, solar energy production in non-cropping season will be added. Sir, I had mentioned in my July budget, zero budget natural farming. That shall also be included in our activities. The portal on Jaivik Kheti, online national organic products market, will also be strengthened. So the next point, the 11th, financing on negotiable warehousing receipts, ENWR, has already crossed more than 6,000 crores. Financing on negotiable warehousing receipts. This will be integrated with National Agriculture Market, the electronics one. The next point is the 12th of the 16. Non-banking finance companies and cooperatives are active in the agriculture credit space. The NABARD refinance scheme will be further expanded. Agricultural credit target for the year 2021 has been set at 15 lakh crores, 15 lakh crores, agricultural credit availability. All eligible beneficiaries of PM Kisan will be covered under the KCC, Kisan Credit Card Scheme. 13th of the 16th, our government intends to eliminate foot and mouth disease, brucellosis in cattle, and also what is called the PPR in sheep, which is a French expression. Sorry for those who know French. I'll try to pronounce. Peste des petits ruminants. PPR in sheep and goat by 2025. So foot and mouth disease, brucellosis in cattle, and also PPR in sheep and goat by 2025 will be eliminated. Coverage of artificial insemination shall be increased from the present 30% to 70%. Manrega would be dovetailed to develop fodder farms. Further, we shall facilitate doubling of milk processing capacity from 53.5 million metric tons to 108 million metric tons by 2025. From 53.5 million metric tons of milk to 108 million metric tons by 2025. 14th point, blue economy. Our government proposes to put in place a framework for development, management, and conservation of marine fishery resources. 15th, youth in coastal areas benefit through fish processing and market. By 2022-23, I propose raising fish production to 200 lakh tons. Propose raising fish production to 200 lakh tons. Growing of algae, seaweed, and cage culture will also be promoted. So this coming point is very important. Our government will involve youth in fishery extension work through 3,477 Sagar Mitras and 500 fish farmer producer organizations. We hope the rural youth, particularly those who are in the coastal areas and inland fishing areas, will work as Sagar Mitras and also form 500 fish farmer producer organizations. You know that we already have a farmer producer organization, which is FPO. Now we are expanding it to cover fish farmer producer organizations. 16th and the last action point, sir, under Deen Dayal Antyodaya Yojana for alleviation of poverty, 58 lakh SHGs have been mobilized. We shall further expand on SHGs in this regard too. Now, for the fund allocation, for the 16 different steps that I have announced, they are being stated under two broad categories. They are being stated under two broad categories. For the sector comprising of agriculture, allied activities, irrigation, and rural development, an allocation of 2.83 lakh crores has been made for 2020-21, and it is divided, among other things, for agriculture, irrigation, and allied activities, 1.6 lakh crores. For rural development and Panchayati Raj, 1.23 lakh crores. Both put together, it is about 1.73 lakh, 2.8 lakh, 83 lakhs crores, 2.83 lakh crores. Wellness and water and sanitation is the second under Aspirational India. I said my three themes: Aspirational India, economic development, and caring society. Under each, I state three which contain specific programs. Aspirational India, already I've mentioned about the rural development and so on. Now I talk of wellness, water, and sanitation. We have a holistic vision of healthcare that translates into wellness for citizens. Mission Indradhanush has been expanded to cover 12 such diseases, including 5 new vaccines. Fit India movement is a vital part of fight against non-communicable diseases coming out of lifestyle issues. A very focused safe water Jal Jeevan mission and comprehensive sanitation program Swachh Bharat mission have been launched to support the health vision that would reduce the disease burden on the poor. Presently, under PM Jan Arogya Yojana, there are more than 20,000 empaneled hospitals who help in Ayushman Bharat. We need more such hospitals to be empaneled in Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities for poor people in these areas to benefit from them. It is therefore proposed to set up a viability gap funding window for setting up hospitals in PPP mode. In the first phase, those aspirational districts will be covered. We know there are 112 of them. So those aspirational districts from 112 that we have, where presently there are no Ayushman empaneled hospitals, will be given priority. So from 112 of aspirational districts, those which don't have an empaneled hospital for Ayushman treatments will be given the first priority, so that in Tier 2 and Tier 3 we have more such hospitals. This would also provide large-scale employment opportunities to youth. Proceeds from taxes on medical devices. This is very interesting. It has a bearing on what I will be saying during taxation, the Part B. Proceeds from taxes on medical devices would be used to support this vital health infrastructure which will get built in the aspirational districts. Using machine learning and artificial intelligence in the Ayushman Bharat scheme, health authorities and the medical fraternity can target diseases with an appropriately designed preventive regime. TB harega, desh jeetega. TB harega, desh jeetega. This campaign has been launched. I propose to strengthen this campaign to realize our commitment to end tuberculosis by 2025. I propose to expand also Jan Aushadhi Kendra scheme to all districts, offering 2,000 medicines and 300 surgicals by 2024. I have provided for the health sector about 69,000 crores, that is inclusive of 6,400 crores for Prime Minister Jan Arogya Yojana. So now the important point on sanitation. Our government is committed to ODF plus. We know ODF is already there, launched, successfully sort of covered, saturation reached. But our government is committed to ODF plus in order to sustain ODF behavior, because it has a lot of impact. If behavioral patterns don't remain consistent, it can have a negative bearing. So our government is committed to ODF plus in order to sustain ODF behavior and to ensure that no one is left behind. Now more needs to be done towards liquid and grey water management. Focus would also be on solid waste collection, source segregation and processing. The total allocation for Swachh Bharat mission is about 12,300 crores for this year, 2020-21. Aiming to provide piped water supply to all households, Prime Minister announced from the Red Fort the Jal Jeevan mission. Our government has approved 3.6 lakh crore for this mission. 3.60 lakh crore for this mission is being approved. This scheme also places emphasis on augmenting local water resources, recharging existing sources, and will promote water harvesting and desalination. Cities over 1 million population will be encouraged to meet this objective during the current year itself. During the year 2021, this scheme would be provided a budget exclusively of 11,500 crores. So I now move to the third under Aspirational India, education and skills. The third and the final item under Aspirational India is education and skills. By 2030, India is set to have the largest working age population in the world. Not only do they need literacy, but they need both job and life skills. Dialogues have been held with state education ministries, members of parliament, and other stakeholders about education policy. Over 2 lakh suggestions were also received. The new education policy will be announced soon. It is felt that our education system needs greater inflow of finance to attract talented teachers, innovate and build better labs. Therefore, steps would be taken to enable sourcing external commercial borrowings and FDI so as to deliver higher quality education. Students in general stream, as opposed to those in services or technology stream, sciences and technology stream, need their employment opportunities improved. About 150 higher education institutions will start apprenticeship embedded degree diploma courses by March 2021. The government proposes to start a program whereby urban local bodies across the country would provide internship opportunities to fresh engineers for a period up to 1 year. So local bodies, as you know, do undertake a lot of public work program, and their manpower is also limited. But yet young engineers who are ready to serve for the purpose of learning how it is to work with the government are also going around seeking opportunities. So here we have opportunity by saying urban local bodies should now give opportunity for fresh engineers so that they can head better and in turn also learn as an intern under the local bodies. So this is for a period of 1 year that we've opened up. In order to provide quality education to students of deprived section of the society as well as those who do not have access to higher education, it is proposed to start a degree-level, full-fledged online education program. This shall be offered only by institutions who are ranked within top 100 in the National Institutional Ranking Framework. Initially, only a few such institutions would be asked to offer such programs. Sir, India should also be a preferred destination for higher education. Hence, under its Study in India program, an IND-SAT exam is proposed to be held in Asian and African countries. It shall be used for benchmarking foreign candidates who receive scholarships for studying in Indian higher education centers. A national police university and a national forensic science university are being proposed in the domain of policing science, forensic science, and cyber forensics. There is a shortage of medical doctors. There is a shortage of qualified medical doctors, both general practitioners as well as specialists. In order to meet this requirement, it is proposed to attach a medical college to an existing district hospital in PPP mode. Those states that fully allow facilities of the hospital to the medical college and wish to provide land at a concession would be able to receive viability gap funding from the center. Details of the scheme would be worked out soon, so we aim to have at the district level, with hospitals which are being extended for medical college training and also for producing more doctors, viability gap funding will also be extended. So the National Board of Examination imparts PG medical qualification, diploma and fellow of National Board, DNB and FNB. The government will therefore encourage large hospitals with sufficient capacity to offer resident doctors the DNB and FNB courses under the National Board of Examinations. There exists a huge demand for teachers, nurses, paramedical staff, and caregivers all abroad. There exists a huge demand abroad for teachers, nurses, paramedical staff, and caregivers. However, their skill sets many a time do not match the employer's standards and therefore need to be improved. I propose that a special bridge course be designed by the Ministries of Health, Skill Development, together with professional bodies to bring in equivalence. Language requirements of various countries need also to be included. All these should be achieved through a special training package. Our government proposes to provide about 99,300 crores for education sector in 2021 and about 3,000 crores for skill development. So I move to the second theme, economic development. Aspirational India, economic development and caring society. I'm now talking on economic development. And in economic development, industry, commerce and investment are the ones which come first in our. So the most important thing as an introduction I'd like to say here, the guilds of Saraswati Sindhu civilization and the Harappan seals are remarkable. Saraswati Sindhu civilization is about 4,000 before the Common Era. They belong, the seals in particular, belong to 3,300 BCE, before the Common Era. Words from the Indus script, which are all hieroglyphs, have been deciphered. Words from those hieroglyphs have been deciphered. Interesting words which we need to know when we're talking about commerce and industry. Commerce and trade-related words show how India for a millennia has been a continuing civilization with rich skills in metallurgy, rich skills in trading, and so on. Sreni is a word found in the Harappan seals, which means guild. Seti is a word found in the Harappan seals, which means wholesale merchant. Seti was a wholesale merchant in the Sindhu civilization, Saraswati Sindhu civilization. Poddar is an assayer of metal into treasury. And also, India is a continuing maritime power in terms of commerce and industry. Takara Khodmi is using word which shows blacksmithery and also iron and tin smithery existed that time. So India's commerce, India's industry, India's trade in such materials, which were all unique to India, have existed and continues to exist over the millennia. So entrepreneurship has always been the strength of India. That's the point I wanted to explain. I'm sure many members already know it, and therefore they're a bit restless. Entrepreneurship has always been the strength of India. Even today, young men and women have given up greener pastures elsewhere to contribute to India's growth. They are risk-taking and come up with disruptive solutions to festering challenges. Equally, established old industries are resetting themselves in a changing global domestic situation. Global and domestic situation. We recognize the knowledge, skills, and risk-taking capacities and capabilities of our youth. He is no longer a job seeker. He is a creator of jobs. Now we wish to create more opportunities and remove roadblocks from this path. I propose to set up an investment clearance cell that will provide end-to-end facilitation and support, including pre-investment advisory, information related to land banks, and facilitate clearances at the center and also in the state level. It will work through a portal. There is a case for maximizing the benefits of three separately developing economic activities: the upcoming economic corridors, revitalization of manufacturing activities, and technology and the demands for aspirational classes. We have to benefit from their convergence. Hence, it is proposed to develop 5 new such smart cities in collaboration with states and in PPP mode. Such sites would be chosen that offer the best choices in terms of the that will make it a part of global value chains. This in turn gets more investment and generates more employment for our youth. Electronics manufacturing industry is very competitive, and India has shown its cost advantages. The potential of this industry in job creation is immense. India needs to boost domestic manufacturing and attract large investments in the electronics value chain. Here I propose a scheme focused on encouraging manufacture of mobile phones, electronic equipment, and semiconductor packaging. The details will be announced sooner. With suitable modifications, this scheme can be adapted for manufacturing of medical devices too. India, sir, imports significant quantity of technical textiles worth $16 billion every year. To reverse this trend and to position India as a global leader in technical textiles, a national technical textiles mission is proposed with a 4-year implementation period from 2020-21 to 23-24 at an estimated outlay of 1,480 crores. Honorable Speaker, sir, Honorable Speaker, sir, from the Red Fort, our Prime Minister spoke about quality and standards when he spoke of zero defect, zero effect manufacturing. In September last year, I had called for a time-bound adoption by industry of all necessary mandatory technical standards and their effective enforcement. All ministries during the course of this year would be issuing quality standard order. So to achieve higher export credit disbursement, a new scheme, NIRVIC, is being launched, which provides for higher insurance cover, reduction in premium for small exporters, and simplified procedure for claim settlements. It is proposed to digitally refund to exporters. That was NIRVIC. I'm coming to a different point now. It is proposed to digitally refund to exporters duties and taxes levied at the center, state, and local levels, such as electricity duties, VAT, the VAT, on fuel used for transportation, which are not getting exempted or refunded under any other existing mechanism. This scheme for reversion of duties and taxes on exported products will be launched from this year itself. Honorable Speaker, it is the vision of our Prime Minister that each district should develop as an export hub. Efforts of the centre and state governments are being synergized and institutional mechanisms are being created in order that every district becomes an export hub. Government e-marketplace, GEM, is moving ahead for creating a unified procurement system in the country for providing a single platform for procurement of goods, services, and works. It offers a great opportunity for medium and small and micro enterprises. 3.24 lakh vendors are already on this platform. It is proposed to take its turnover to 3 lakh crores. I propose to provide about 27,300 crores for development and promotion of industry and commerce for the year 2020-2021. So under economic development, the second point that I want to focus on is a very important point, and it is on infrastructure. Honorable Speaker, in his Independence Day speech of 2019, the Prime Minister has highlighted that 100 lakh crores would be invested on infrastructure for the next 5 years. As a follow-up measure, I had launched the National Infrastructure Pipeline on 31st December 2019 of 103 lakh crore worth projects. It consists of more than 6,500 projects across sectors and are classified as per their size and stage of development. These new projects will include housing, safe drinking water, access to clean and affordable energy, health care for all, world-class educational institutions, modern railway stations, airports, bus terminals, metro, railway transportation, logistics and warehousing, irrigation projects, etc. The National Infrastructure Pipeline envisions improving the ease of living for each and every individual citizen in the country. It will also bring in generic and sectoral reforms in development, operation and maintenance of these infrastructure projects. A huge employment opportunity exists for India's youth in construction, operation and maintenance of infrastructure. National Skill Development Agency will give special thrust to infrastructure-focused skills and their development opportunities. I propose to set up a project preparation facility for infrastructure projects. This program would actively involve young engineers, management graduates, and economists from our universities. It is also proposed to direct all infrastructure agencies of the government to involve youth power in startups. They will help in rolling out value-added services in quality public infrastructure for citizens. A national logistics policy will soon be released. Among other things, it will clarify the role of union government, state government, and also the key regulators. It will create a single window e-logistics market and focus on generation of employment, skills, and making MSMEs competitive. So also, accelerated development of highways will be undertaken. This will include development of 2,500 kilometer access control highways, 9,000 kilometers of economic corridors, 2,000 kilometers of coastal and land port roads, and 2,000 kilometers of strategic highways. The Delhi-Mumbai Expressway and two other packages would be completed by 2023. Chennai-Bengaluru Expressway would also be started. So the fast-track mechanism encourages us towards greater commercialization of our highways so that NHAI can raise more resources. I propose to monetize at least 12 lots of highway bundles of over 6,000 kilometers before 2024. In carrying out its duty, the Indian Railways performs a service to the nation. Within 100 days of assumption of this government, it has commissioned 550 Wi-Fi facilities in as many railway stations. It has eliminated unmanned level crossings and aims to achieve electrification of 27,000 kilometers of tracks. This will call, obviously, for optimization of costs. Railways has small operating surplus. About Indian Railways, there are 5 measures, among other things, that I wish to highlight. Setting up a large solar-powered capacity. Setting up a large solar power capacity alongside the rail tracks on the land owned by railways. A proposal is under consideration. 4 station redevelopment projects and operation of 150 passenger trains would be done through PPP mode. The process of inviting private participation is underway. More Tejas-type trains will connect iconic tourist destinations. High-speed train between Mumbai and Ahmedabad would be actively pursued. 148-kilometer Bengaluru suburban transport project at a cost of 18,600 crore would have fares on metro model. Central government would provide 20% of the equity, and it will also facilitate external assistance up to 60% of the project cost. Sir, our seaports need to be more efficient. Technology has to be used to improve performance. A governance framework keeping with global benchmarks needs to be put in place. This government would consider corporatizing at least one major port and subsequently its listing on the stock exchanges. Inland waterways received a boost. Inland waterways received a boost in the last 5 years. The Jal Vikas Marg on National Waterway 1 will be completed. Further, the 890-kilometer Dhubri-Sadiyar connectivity in Assam will be done by 2022. Honorable Speaker, sir, developing waterways has its impact on the ecosystem on both the banks of the river. Our Prime Minister has conceptualized Arth Ganga. Plans are afoot to energize economic activity along the river banks. Air traffic has been growing rapidly in the country as compared to global average. 100 more airports would be developed by 2024 to support the Udan scheme. It is expected that the air fleet number shall go up from the present 600 to 1,200 during this time itself. I propose to provide 1.7 lakh crores for transport infrastructure in 2021. Sir, taking electricity to every household has been a major achievement of this government. However, the distribution sector, particularly the DISCOMs, are under financial stress. The ministry intends to promote smart metering. I urge all the states and union territories to replace conventional energy meters by prepaid smart meters